set is just right. That knife is just right. Well, some people would disagree, and I absolutely did use a little bit of sleight of hand for the thumbnail for this live feed, but first we gotta make coffee. So, no one is here. No one is here. Someone is here. Who's here? Who's here? I'm making a little bit of coffee. I lost track of how much. Lost track of how many scoops I put, so I just put some more in. I'm gonna use my fancy coffee pot this morning. Get this all set up here. These beans don't do well in the Keurig cups. So this pot does a really good job with it. I'm not a fan of the drip coffee pot. I think that makes a better pot of coffee. Who is here? I'm not going to get into a bunch of important stuff till no one's here. Well, maybe we just won't do this live feed. I'm not going to stand here and talk to myself for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Who's here? I'm not gonna like if there's only gonna be one person here and you're gonna be a lurker and drop comments. I'm not even gonna do this. I'll just cancel the whole thing. I have so many other things I could do besides stand here. No one's here. Literally 0 people. Let's check and see. I don't know. You guys having problems getting in or what? I don't know. There's one person here, then they leave. Then they're here, then they leave, and I'm wondering if it's even worth trying to do this. I've had issues like this before, where the live feed just did not work, and it was not that you guys weren't trying to get in. Did you guys get notified of the live feed? Well, I'll give it a couple more minutes. If no one shows up and I don't get any comments other than the one I already got. So I got some before the live feed actually started. So now it says there's 2 people here. Somebody please let me know if this is working and drop a chat. Because I'm not... It's been 3 minutes and I haven't gotten a fucking thing. So I wanted to talk about big knives, but I want some people to be here before I do it. So... Well, all right, guys. So, I'm going to leave this live feed up so you guys can see it. The fact is, I've had 0 comments, 1 person. I'll give it 5 minutes so you guys can see how frustrating this is. So, whoever's here, drop a comment and let me know that you're actually here. I can't run a live feed 4 minutes and I haven't gotten a single comment. It says there's only 1 person here. So, 4 people here now. Paul Mills is here. Cool. All right, there's people here. I don't know what happened. It's been... Four people here, 3 likes. If you're here, drop a like at least so I can see that number go up. Now it's 2. You know what? Now it's 1. I'm going to end this. There's no one here. No one's here. I'm going to end this. I'll see you guys later. Maybe I'll do a live feed later. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to... I have so many other things that I could do besides stand here in my kitchen. I know Will likes big knives, but Will, you're the only fucking person here. I think this might be a YouTube thing. It might be that there's more people here. I'm just not... Yep, One person watching. So, all right, guys, I'm going to end this. I'm not doing a live feed to an audience of one. Will, I can always... I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to do a live feed to an audience of one. You and I can talk. I can call you. I've got your phone number. So 3 people here now. You weren't here. It said there was one person. The only person talked to me was the only person talking to me was Will, and said there was one person watching. So happy haptics. All right. So you know what? We'll just keep going. I'll tell you what. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to end this live feed. But the problem is, on replay, no one's going to watch it because there was 5 minutes of me talking to myself. So it's already been 6 minutes, Will. It's been 6 minutes. It says there's 2 people here. What I think is it's all screwed up. The problem is who... Oh, hey. The fancy coffee pot's doing its thing. And it will be doing it for several more minutes. Well, 3 minutes. Okay, so there are people showing up. We'll keep it live. I wish there was a way I could edit a live feed, because the problem is on playback, no one's going to watch because it was 6 minutes of me by myself. So that's the problem. The rewatches is where you make any money. So, but yeah, I played a little trick on you guys. This thing is not that big. This is not a 12-inch and larger knife. It's pretty big, though. I gotta say, it is pretty big. Yeah, the siphon brewers, everybody's like, oh, it's just a percolator. I was like, no, it's different because it doesn't recycle coffee through the grounds. It's it absolutely just keeps it. It's not really brewing. Oh, I should grab the stitch. It's not really percolating up in here. You get a little bit. So this is just basically keeping this at the proper temperature for brewing. And then it will sit, but you got to stir it a couple times. It's a lot like a French press. It's like a French press, only it doesn't get cold. It stays at the proper brewing temperature for the entire brew. So this is a little bit cooler than this. So it's blowing some steam up through, but it's not actually pushing boiling water up. It keeps it at the proper temperature. Boo, how big is it next to the stitch? Let's go get the stitch. I'll go get your stitch. Hang on. I'll go get your stitch, and we'll see. The stitch is big, but I don't think it's anywhere near as big as the Kodiak. So this Saturday is the event, and the thing that I'm kind of frustrated with, I'm just frustrated. So guys, give me some slack on how my attitude is today with wanting to just like say fuck it about the live feed. Saturday is the event. There was a whole bunch of people told me, oh no, I'm gonna be there. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to go. And I'm like, okay, man. Well, then these were people that were saying they were coming from out of state. Now, Bubbles, I understand why Bubbles can't go. But if you're just dropping in, please drop a like. But I had some people that were coming from out of state, and it was going to be fun. And they were some guys coming from up Northern California, and they were going to come. And it was going to be really fun and cool. And I was like, all right, well, make sure you reach out to Nico for lodging. And I asked Nico yesterday, I was like, hey, has anybody reached out to you about getting lodging? I was like, these people. He's like, nope. And so I reach out, and they're like, oh, yeah, man, I'm not going to be able to make it. And I was like, you could have fucking told me. You could have told me, because I was telling other people you were coming. Because you said, yeah, man, I'll be there. Now, Ray Laconico is not coming, but that's fine, because Ray was a maybe anyway. Yeah, here we go. So as this cools, since it forced all that air up through, as this cools, you can see the coffee will just drop. This will be cool. When it starts, I'll turn it back around. But yeah, we had some people that were just like, yeah, we're definitely coming. And I can't wait to see you and all this. And then out of nowhere, I reached out to him. I was like, hey man, if you want lodging, you probably, oh shit, there we go. Coffee's dropping. It just sucks it back down through the filter. So there's a built-in filter in here. So I hate one of the biggest things I hate in life, period, it doesn't matter who does it, is when somebody tells you they're going to do something and then you reach out to them and to follow up and they're like, oh yeah, man, nah, I'm not gonna be able to. And I'm like, bro, you should have not told me yes. Like if you tell me you're going to do something and then you don't do it, I'm going to be very upset. And you only get to do that to me a couple times before I don't ever talk to you again. And that's like, oh, hey, we're going to hang out this weekend or something. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'll definitely. And then you start calling. You're like, what are we going to do this week? You start trying to get a hold of them on a fucking Saturday. And they ghost you. And then they call you on Monday and they're like, oh, yeah, my bad. I just felt bad because I wasn't going to be able to do it. So I just didn't even answer my phone. I was like, bro, that is a good way for me never to fucking talk to you again. That is the worst. I hate when people do that. And then especially like I was planning this event to have people that people could hang out with and stuff like this. So Nico and I had talked, I got to rinse my coffee grinder out. Nico and I had talked about maybe trying to do this again next year if it went well this year. And if we don't, the problem is if we don't get people show up, the knife companies aren't going to show up. Knife companies aren't going to want to make a trip to the Imperial Empire up in Palm Springs for an event where like 5 people showed up. It's just not, it's not in their best interest. It's not in their financial best interest. So that's what gets frustrating. That's what gets frustrating about it is Nico and I put a lot of work into this event. So if you are in the Southern California area, there is a small knife show going on up in the Palm Springs area, up in Beaumont at a place called the Craft Lounge. And I would love to have you guys there. I know you would, Will. It would be cool. Be cool. This is a very, very nice. I had a coffee grinder that you couldn't take the basket off of, and it was a pain to try and get it clean. Especially if I'm gonna want to do like flavored coffees in this, and then not flavored coffees the next time. So I would ask you guys to drop a like. I'm sorry, I'm doing this right now, and then we'll look at the knives. But I want to get. It's only 5 people here. It just seems kind of uneventful on this live feed. I know it's summer and people are doing stuff, but yeah, we are going to talk about some big knives, and sometimes too big is a thing. I've seen the Alpha Beast, which is twice the size of this in thickness. It's like basically this knife, but twice as thick. That's too big. That's just too much. This is 10 ounces. And so, Will, next to your stitch, that's it next to the stitch. Tip to tip, tail to tail, but the tail of the tape is really when it's open. It's nowhere in comparison. I thought you guys said he ended. I thought you said that Big Red was done. You guys said he finished up. Well, go in his chat. Go in his chat and let people know that I'm going live too right now. There will not be a live feed on Saturday as usual. It's going to be a little different. I'm going to try to do a live. I'm probably going to do it from up at Nico's house. Because tomorrow morning, I'm hauling ass up there to Banning, where he lives. And then we're going to try and do a couple things, just me and Nico. Savannah's going to be, Swags is going to be there tomorrow. I think I may do an impromptu live from the event. I definitely am going to be doing some filming from the event. Definitely going to be doing some filming from the event. I have made an error in judgment. I did not grab the stand for that. Did not grab the stand for that. So if you're here and you haven't dropped a like, I'd appreciate it. But sometimes I'm still making my coffee. I'm still making my coffee anyway. I don't know what I'm complaining about. I was ill prepared. There was a lot of. I took my kid to school. There was a lot of traffic coming back on the 5 freeway coming south, and it's because I think they're cleaning out a homeless encampment, and so there's like cops and stuff along the side of the road. We've got a huge homeless problem just not far from here. Huge homeless encampments just down the road from here. And it absolutely... all that whole pot will fill this up. Maybe once. Yep. That whole pot, 1 cup. It's all in here. And I mean, you want to talk about a big... So you guys see me drinking these cups of coffee, the big cups of coffee, and if you're just getting here, drop a like. That cup that I use all the time, that entire pot of coffee fits in that cup. And I have 2 of those every morning and then 2 in the afternoon. I may have an irresponsible relationship with caffeine. It's possible. So, yeah, I let... everybody know they can. I'm waiting. If you guys want to join a membership on the channel, absolutely please join a membership. If you have not checked out Coffee Brand Coffee, there is a link to Coffee Brand Coffee. I'm currently not drinking Coffee Brand Coffee. I have a friend that sent me some whole beans from... He was in Guatemala, and he got some coffee beans in Guatemala. It's Guatemala Antisigna, something like that. So he was there and he got me some coffee beans. He brought them back and I'm trying them out. They've been pretty good so far. They were already roasted. They got roasted there. So he went to Guatemala. He got these coffee beans. He brought them back. He marked them for me. I'm trying them out. I've had a couple pots of it. It's pretty good. He's doing a giveaway? Okay, cool. No, that's fine. Speaking of big knives, I just unboxed the Pyrite XL. I filmed it yesterday. It's probably going to be up at 4 p.m. today, but I don't really want to show you guys. I will show you a size comparison of how big it is, but the unboxing will go up at 4 p.m. today. I'm impressed with how well they took the Pyrite and turned it into a large knife. And so a lot of times you get a company that will do a knife and then they say they're going to do an XL big version and it's a little bit bigger. Let's go out to the studio. The reason we're doing it in here is I'm still having problems getting StreamYard to work with Rumble. Sorry, my brain's not working right. I'm still having a problem trying to get it to work with Rumble. And so I absolutely, there's the regular sized one. What do I do with the L size? What do I do with the big Pyrite? I have an XL Pyrite here somewhere. I just filmed it yesterday. Did I put it in my pocket? I did not. So now we play this little game which is where did Mike go? Where did Mike put the knife that he wants to talk about? That's always a fun game when you have this many knives in one small space. This is the regular size Pyrite. The XL Pyrite needs to... Did I put it in the wrong case by accident? No, it's not in that. That box is empty. The Pyrite XL is here somewhere. I promise you it is here. As a matter of fact, I just talked to Artisan Cutlery and CJRB about the fact that, yes, I did receive the package they sent me. It's not there. It's not there. Did I grab it already? If you have not dropped a like, I'd appreciate it. Is it in here with these knives? No. Well, now we have to go on a bit of a quest after I have a drink of my coffee. This is my second cup. Like I said, guys, that entire pot of coffee that I just made is in this cup. And this is my second one of these this morning. It's hot. I think we have to go on a bit of a quest. Hey, guard dog. Not a good guard dog. He decided to eat a hockey puck yesterday at the ice rink and was very sick for a good chunk of the evening last night. He threw up about 6 or 7 times. Oh, you know what we haven't done in a while? And I have some stickers to do it with. We have not put new stickers on the gun case in a long time. Last time was when I got stuff from Knives Ship Free when I got the last knife that Zach sent me. Yep, I did. I brought it all the way up here to the bedroom. Ooh, it's nice and cool in here. I got a fan in the window. It's hot. It's hot in the studio. So if you guys are here, I just grabbed the Pyrite XL because we're gonna do a comparison side by side to the regular Pyrite. They did a very, very good job of making an XL. I've gotten upset with companies in the past that just make a knife a little bit bigger than the standard model. And it does get like if you say you're going to do something XL, the ones that really stand out that are very good, Beg Letter XL. I forget. Elliot did an XL version of the Lackey, which is great. It's massive compared to the regular Lackey fixed blade. And this one. So this is the Pyrite XL, and this is the regular Pyrite. Big difference between these two knives. They didn't just make a larger version. When they said XL, they meant it, and it's so much better. This is so much better than the regular Pyrite because the regular Pyrite for me was too small. I like the Echo, it feels right. The Pyrite just didn't feel right at that size, but when you give me this XL, it's great. Same thing, the Beg Letter. I liked the Beg Letter, the original, and the Beg Letter Mini. I'm like, they were both okay. I actually like the Mini better than the regular. And typically, if I like the Mini, I won't like the large one. If I like the large one, I won't like the Mini. But I was just kind of okay with both of them. When I got the Beg Letter XL in from Jared, I'm like, fuck, that is good. This is a great, great knife. It needed to be this size. This knife needed to be this size for me. I know a lot of guys like the Beg Letter Mini and the original one. I don't have a problem with either one of those. But this just hits so much better. Same thing with the Pyrite. Now, like I said, there's a video going up today unboxing. We'll have a purchase link available for it. You can pick them up. I would appreciate if you use my reverse flick off the thumb studs. Please wait. If you're going to get one, they are available. I have got a purchase link for the Pyrite XL in a community post I did. So yeah, if you're on the fence about it, wait till you see the unboxing because I talk about a lot. It is such a good knife. But Artisan and CRB have done a couple of other large knives that I really like. This is an amazing knife. I love, you know what the cool thing about doing this out here in the kitchen is you get that weird lighting effect. You know what that is? It's my coffee pot. But this is the Artisan Mastiff, and this is one of my favorite knives. It does not get carried as much because I just don't get to carry the knives I want to carry. But this thing is a great cleaver style knife. Even as big as it is, action's good enough I can reverse flick off the fuller on this one. This is a really good knife. And if you guys are here and you haven't dropped a like yet, I'd really appreciate it. I thought about doing this from my laptop on StreamYard, but like I couldn't have done that. You guys have been stuck. That is one of the nice things about doing this from my phone. Is I have the freedom to do some of those things. Here's another Here's another big knife. Now, when I say big, anything that's over like 7.5 inches, that's when I start talking about big, because, well, you know, you don't want too big. Some chicks dig it, but no, but that's typically like 7.5, 8 inches is when I start looking at a knife and saying that knife's a little bit big. Now you can have a knife like this. This is a little bit more stubby and compact, but that's still a big knife. That's a big knife. It really is. Carbon fiber, titanium. I think these are is this S35 VN? I don't have my reading glasses on my hat. Those are your sunglasses. I'm old enough that I have to have my reading glasses to read the S35 VN. Thought so. S35 VN on this. So just drop shut action. The finish on this is so good. Look at that. I like it because you have a linear satin on the flats, and it's cut with that big fuller, and then you have that really nicely done grinder satin. It just gives it a very good look. So I'm not seeing it. You guys dropping comments? I'm not seeing comments. Last comment I got was, I want to see, please tell me, do I want the Pyrite XL or the Riff? Okay, I like the Pyrite XL and the Riff, Steve. I like them both. They're very good. If I had to pick between the two, I would say Pyrite XL. The Riff is a very good knife, but it's got some issues with the plunge. You've got a forward choil on this one. I think this is a more useful blade than the Riff, which is a very good looking knife. It's really cool. It's really sharp. I think this is thinner, slicier, cuts better than the Pyrite XL. The deep carry on this, it's great. I have another knife, before we pull out the big monster, the Kodiak. I have another knife that falls into that big knife category, and it's my Norseman. I've been carrying my Norseman today, mainly because I was looking at it in comparison to some of these other knives that are actually big knives. It's no smaller than this. This is a 9-inch knife. The Norseman is as big as the Begleiter. It's a big knife. People forget how big the Norseman is. And this is one of those knives that in hand, it doesn't feel big. There are some knives that in hand, they just feel big. They feel, it's almost like the point is out past its useful area. I have, the ones that I've picked here are not like that. And I typically don't keep knives like that. The Migron Valona, that's a big knife that does not feel like a big knife. This is really nimble. What happened to that poor blade? Which poor blade? What are you talking about? I mean, this? Nothing happened to it. This gets used a lot. This knife, probably one of my most used and carried knives. You talking about this? The one that looks all wanky? I know it's been a while, Will. I still have to do, here's the thing. I'm not going to sharpen your Norseman because that's going to be a video. I'm not going to sharpen your Norseman until I get done reviewing this, and I want to do a video about the Mordax that you sent. This thing is great. This is another big knife. This doesn't feel like a big knife, and most of it's because while it is big, you're way up on the blade. So I've actually got a good bit of handle sticking out. It is warm in this kitchen because I did not open any of these windows. Allow me to go. You could just, I haven't opened anything to let any air in. It is getting hot in here because the sun hits that side of the house over there. That side of the house over there, you can see it hits this side of the house all day, all morning. And then once it transitions over, it's nice and cool, but it's still nice and cool outside. It's only like 78, 80 degrees outside. It is a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day here in Southern California. Once the sun transitions, I'll have a lot of shade over here. I usually spend a lot of my afternoon. I'll take my laptop out and go out here and sit on my bench, or I'll move that and I'll sit on that bench. And I literally will do editing on my laptop from out here in the yard. Because it's just, in the afternoon, it's just so beautiful. It's just a beautiful day. It's always a beautiful day here. Can't wait to move. They charge too much for the fucking weather. They charge too much for it to be that beautiful. But you're a horrible watchdog. So, yeah, that Migron Valona is a knife that is, I think it's 9. Is it 9 or 9.25? But the fact is, it doesn't feel out of sorts with itself. What happens is sometimes you'll have a knife that the blade gets too long on and it doesn't feel usable. It feels like it's too long. And you'll have knives that feel like that. This doesn't feel like that. This is really comfortable, really nimble, really easy to use. Pinch grip, you've still got really good control. Sometimes when a knife gets too long, you lose that feeling of control from back here, and it just feels like it's out of sorts. Now, this is too big for some tasks, but it's still an awesome, awesome knife. The action on the Migron Valona is insane. Reverse flick on it. I haven't carried this in a while. This is a knife that I have so many knives that I just feel like I just want to carry that, but I don't have time because there's just so much stuff that has to go in pocket. And then there's stuff I can't get out of my pocket. Like, I have absolutely fallen in love with my PM2, which is not a small knife either, to tell you the truth. It's just got a weird blade to handle. It's slim feeling, but like I said, it doesn't feel too long. I have had knives, and I got rid of them, and I've talked about them in videos. Oh, you know what I didn't do? We got to go back upstairs. We got to talk about another large, no, because it's a fixed blade. There are knives that I have to block the fucking downstairs, or the dog will be up here into everything. Here's our previous dog. There's our dog that you see in the outro of my videos, in the green screen outro. She's still here with us. And so is our German Shepherd that we had when we first moved to San Diego. But I forgot to grab this and put it on my belt. I put on grown-up pants again. That goes on my belt pretty much every morning. I just forgot about it this morning when I was getting dressed to take the kid to school and skating. I just didn't even grab it. Like, I don't care. I carry it to the ice rink and stuff like that. So if you're just dropping in, drop a like. I have some technically oversized knives. Those are swords. So, yeah, you can get into a point where a knife isn't that big or that long, but it feels out of sorts. It feels awkward. This knife, as much as I love this is a knife that I probably could not use on a day-to-day basis. It's just too much. It's too heavy. It's too over the top. You would get tired just using this. This is a short sword. This is a piece of armor from Warhammer 40K. So it's an impressive piece of machining and steel. And see how good the action is on that? It is so drop shut. It's dangerous. But this is another large EDC, like long. It's a fixed blade, but this is still pretty big. But this does not suffer from those issues where it's too long out past your grip. This just feels so good. This was that Humphrey custom knives Tucson that Zach sent me. So big that is. The Boker Kalashnikov XXL. That's too big. I thought that the Kalashnikov by itself was already big. The XL was big. Could have some. Me sweating could have something to do with the fact I'm drinking a hot cup of coffee. I think I got a spider bite on my foot. It's very, very sensitive and sore in one spot. Let's get this on my belt. The Tucson, no joke, lives on my belt. I go, like, anywhere I go, I'm carrying a fixed blade these days. And it's this one. Because it's just so comfortable to carry. And it sits right on my, here, I'll show you. It sits so well just right there, right on the seam of the pants. And it just carries so well because the sheath on it is just about perfect. Easy to draw from. Cold steels are big. That's one of the brands that I've had where their large knives, felt too big. And it's a balance thing. It's like a way they feel with the weight distribution and stuff like that. Sometimes they feel weird. Here's another larger knife that, I'm sweating. Here's a larger knife that carries and feels very, very well. You just guys saw this in the final video yesterday. This is mine. I'm keeping this. I love this knife. This is that QSP Pangolin. And it is, I was not joking. This is probably the best $45 tactical knife you're going to find. This thing just drops into an aggressive feel in hand. The edge the edge on this D2 is ridiculous. I think my wife's like, how come every time I come home on Mondays and Wednesdays, there's fucked up, cut up paper towels? Yeah. This is free hanging. It does do it. It's just, I use this knife a lot. So if you guys are dropping in and you have not dropped a like, I appreciate it. Let's see, does this do it? Yeah. This is absolutely screaming sharp. This is probably one of the best fixed blades I have. And I have a lot of fixed blades. This is probably one of the best ones I have. When Zach sent it to me, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it at first. Nick Martino's Instagram. Nick, fuck, I can't think of it. I think I know it, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. I cannot think of it off the top of my head. So, but if you guys are dropping in, Zach, I was just talking about how good this knife is. This literally lives. I went upstairs to get it because I had not put it on my belt yet today. I didn't put it on. I was in a rush this morning. This thing's amazing. This is an amazing knife. I reached for it and it wasn't there, and I was like, oh shit, we gotta go back upstairs and grab that. So, such a good knife. Lon is probably going to wind up being a guest. If you guys are dropping in and you haven't dropped a like, I'd appreciate it. It got its first day carry video that's going up soon. I'm hesitant with videos about fixed blades. So everybody complains about the fact that I don't do American knives very often. And the problem is when I do American-made knives, the videos tank. And that problem is that most of the American knives that I ever get that come in on the channel are fixed blades. And I don't know why people don't want to see fixed blades. Fixed blades are amazing. They're my favorite knives. Fixed blades have been my favorite knives forever. If you're an outdoor guy, I got news for you. I never went hunting. Never once would I go hunting and think that I was only going to carry a folding knife. You had to have a fixed blade. Like, I would go out on the farm and do stuff on the farm throughout the day and stuff. But if I was going out hunting, no. Unless I was going squirrel hunting. Like, if I was going squirrel hunting, I'd carry my little folding knife to do it with. But no, you don't go out in the woods hunting without a fixed blade. You don't. It's just one of those things you don't do. You don't go camping without a fixed blade. If you're just going out into the woods to do a couple things like check fence line and shit like that, yeah, you can carry a pocket knife because you're probably on horseback. I used to tell people, I was like, yeah, I go out and check fence line, and they're like, oh, like what four-wheelers do you guys have? I was like, four-wheelers? What kind of fucking rich-ass farm did you grow up on? We did it on horseback because we had horses. You can do a lot more on a horse than you can do on a four-wheeler on a farm, too. Horses don't tear up fields and shit. Horses don't screw up shit. And I've never gotten a horse stuck in the mud. I've gotten a tractor stuck in the mud. I've seen people get four-wheelers stuck in the mud. I got a Jeep stuck in the mud. Never once did I ever get my horse stuck in the mud. Someone helped me get a hold of Nick. I jumped in on the giveaway for him, and he won he didn't see it though. Bro, hang on a second. Let me see. Let me jump in on my Instagram. I'll help you out if I can. Nick Martino. Nick Martino. Is Nick Martino, I don't know if it's him or not though. View profile. I don't think it is. I don't see anything knife related on his Instagram. Does anybody know what Nick Martino looks like? Because I got a picture. Is that Nick Martino? Because if it is, I don't know. We don't follow each other, so I don't think it is. So far, the heat treat, that's all I got, bro. I can't help you out any more than that. A lot of times he's on my live feeds, but I haven't seen him in a long time. The heat treat on this seems to be really good. I did have a hell of a time. I did have a hell of a time removing the burr on this. So I think we're gonna have to test out a couple more sharpening. It's holding its edge, but I really did have to do a good bit of sharpening. And there was that misgrind that was on it. You'll see that in the unboxing or in the first day carry. It had a bit of a misgrind on it, and I had to rectify that. But like, I get that. I made knives. I ground the edges on knives, and I talked to Lon. He has a guy that helps him with stuff who may have been doing the sharpening on these. It happens. But that is 100% why every knife I made, yes, did it get a belt edge when it first got done and finished before it went off to sheath? Yes. And then when it came back from getting a sheath made, I hand sharpened it and took that garbage edge that I had on it off. You send them sharp. I always would send them sharp to the guy who would make my sheaths because I didn't want to change the dimension too much. Because when you bring it back and you do grind that, you can dimensionally change that depending on how thick the material was and stuff like that. And so you can actually remove enough material that you can get some sheath rattle when I was making customs. So when you would do your sheath, I would send it off to him with a factory, like a belt edge, and then I would just refine that belt edge when I came back, because you're really not removing much material hand sharpening. You're just refining what's already there, cleaning up any little hiccups. So hand sharpening a custom-made knife, I think, not to put anybody out there and put out their business, but if you're gonna make a custom knife, it should not have just a belt edge. It should have the best edge possible. And that's why I would always ask my customers, like, what do you want this sharpened to? Do you want this sharpened to 1,000 grit? You want it sharpened to 10,000 grit, 12,000 grit? I can do that. I just recommend you stay closer to 1,000 grit. So, but no, what I was saying is this, while this is awesome and it's never going to go anywhere. And so you guys, if you're dropping in, drop a like. If you haven't already, it helps get the stream out there. YouTube, the more likes you get, it doesn't matter. I've got 12 people here. YouTube absolutely fucking can't stand my channel for some reason. I don't know what I ever did to YouTube, but they can't stand my channel because no one gets notifications. No one gets recommended videos. People keep getting unsubscribed. This is phone book paper. So it's not that this knife is not sharp, because it absolutely is. It's just not a real usable knife, to tell you. You can do a lot of stuff with it. Like, is it cool? Like, people are like, that's just a gimmick. And then you show them, you're like, I disagree. And from sharpening, the heat treat on it was obviously really good. Where's everyone fucking going? You give a fuck about your jobs? I don't think you give a fuck. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Every time I say, like, if you just drop in and drop a like, I lose like 5 people. And I'm like, wow, fuck you then. It's like, oh, he's asking me to interact. Fucking lurkers. It's pretty sharp. This is a really, really functional one. This really is. This it gets a lot of carry. It's got a really good blade shape, really functional. This is super comfortable in hand. It's too bad that this model wasn't more popular. I just don't understand how it wasn't more popular. You guys are actually going to get 2 videos today. I forgot. You're getting 2 videos today. I'm trying to make up for content for this week because I'm not going to be able to do a live on Saturday. And there's a chance I'm not going to be able to do a live. Hang on. Let me look at the calendar. My wife has surgery next week. So, I'll probably still be able to do one on the 26th, but that's the day before my wife's surgery. So, oh, my wife has an appointment today or tomorrow. My wife has a doctor's appointment tomorrow that I've got to go to, so I'm not going to be able to film tomorrow, mainly because here's the thing. With my wife being Japanese, they don't have a Japanese translator at the hospital, and I wind up going as her translator. I'm not a very good one. But, so tomorrow, I'm not going to be able to film. Wednesday, I still should be able to. I mean, Monday week, the reason I'm saying I might not be able to do a live is I've got to get content filmed because I'm going to burn through some content this weekend. Because I'm not filming today because I have to go meet my wife and daughter at the school to talk about college applications and stuff like that. So that's going to take a lot of the day. Tomorrow, I have to take my daughter to an appointment, and that's going to be an all-afternoon thing. So Friday morning, I'm leaving to go to Nico's house. So I'm not going to be able to film Friday. Saturday, I'm going to be at the event. So I'm not going to be able to film like from now until Monday. I may have to film on Monday because the fact is there's going to be a few days after my wife has surgery that I'm not able to film. So if you guys want to support the channel, I'd really appreciate it because I may have a few days where there just aren't videos going up, which means that's days of 0 income. So if you guys want to become a member, I do have some special stuff coming up for the members. This is a factory edge on this Pirate XL. So I've had a bunch of people tell me that they got artisan knives and CJRB knives that came dull. Now, I'm going to tell you, this did not come from anyone but just their shipping. So they have a warehouse. So they just shipped me one from their warehouse. This was not a special knife that someone went and picked up and handed off to someone to send to me. The lady that runs their influencer program at CJRB and Artisan asked for my address. This came directly from their shipping warehouse in Texas. That's the factory edge. And so anytime anyone tells me that they got a CJRB or an Artisan and it came dull, which is one of those things that people complain about, and I'm like, I don't believe you. If you try to tell me you got an Artisan or a CJRB that wasn't sharp, I'm going to be hesitant to believe you. Because I've never had one that didn't come just screaming sharp. They have got some of the best factory edges that you're going to find on any budget knife anywhere. And I got paid to sharpen people's knives. I have had people send me knives that cost an incredibly stupid amount of money for what they got. And that is not the case with Artisan. I've had other companies send knives out to customers and they send it to me. They're like, bro, I just got this thing and it's dull. And they send it to me and they were not wrong. I've had people that had specific companies they liked, and are like, I'm going to drop ship it to you because I love their knives, but I hate their edges. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, you'll see, and I'll get a knife in. And I'm like, that's like building a sports car and fucking up the paint job. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got this beautiful sports car, like a Ferrari and stuff. You build it up, you do everything, and then you paint it with a roller and a paintbrush. It's just like wiping before you poop. It makes 0 sense. Okay, I got JB to email him. Cool. Yeah, I would hate to see somebody miss out on a giveaway. Speaking of which, not this Saturday because I'm not doing a live. This is going to be a giveaway. This is going to be a giveaway on the channel. This is the titanium pyrite button lock. The titanium one. I'm not giving away the steel one. I'm giving away the titanium one. Don't worry, paying members. You have a giveaway coming soon too. I have some stuff stockpiled for y'all. You guys are gonna get something special. So, paying members get entered into giveaways that are special giveaways. King Snake Jake. So if you're not a paying member, you might want to think about it. I do special giveaways to those guys. Typically something like this, which is over 100. Yeah, the video you're talking about, I didn't think I carried a fixed blade. And then I thought back on it. I'm like, I'm absolutely carrying a fixed blade a lot of times. This is not the $50 or $70 version of the pyrite. This is that $90 or $100 version. I'm giving this away on my channel here in the next couple Saturdays. This will be a subscriber only giveaway. And this time I'm going to let you guys know, I'm going to start announcing it. You're not going to be able just to subscribe that day. You will have to have been subscribed. I'm going to tell you right now, you might want, if you're not already subscribed, you may already want to be, because you have got to be subscribed for at least 24 hours to even drop a comment on that video. So it's going to be a subscriber only. I'm going to do it here on YouTube. It's going to be this knife, $100, I think, around about titanium pyrite. So it's the only way you're going to be able to win it is to be a subscriber. And I'm also going to do a members only live feed later that day where only the members can win, and you guys are going to get to see what they win. As a matter of fact, I'll show you what's going to be a members only giveaway that day. Maybe so that you guys will be kind of enticed into I'm on the fence. I'm going to let the members vote. I'm going to send them a poll. I have 2 knives that I'm planning on doing a giveaway for the members. These are both scheduled for the members. And I don't do the members only giveaways monthly anymore. I'm doing it like quarterly. So I have got the Joe Flowers design Rec Heart that I'm going to be doing as a giveaway for them. But I don't know which this is such a good, I hate giving this away. I really do, because I love this knife. It's a very, very tactical dagger style. Got the big fuller down the middle, all black, blacked out. Nice sheath on this. This is a very, very good, this is an amazing knife, by the way. Just throw that out there. Very tactical, single-edged, but it is that dagger style. Love this knife, giving this away. I might try to talk Joe Flowers into sending me one as a replacement. Love that knife. It's not something I would carry. Or the Artisan Snody Collab Accelerator. I'm giving these both away to the paying members. I'm absolutely giving them both away to the paying members. I just don't know which I'm doing in the next live feed. In the live feed that I do that for. So I'm not sure. I'll probably ask the paying members what they think. So if you want to get in, the only way to win either one of those knives, which, by the way, both are kind of expensive knives. They're pricey. Those are pricier. Those are pricier knives. Those are definitely, I think the Snody is 160. I think this one's 160, if I remember right. But those are all Those are both going to be giveaways for the paying members. Yeah, Joe and I are probably both on the spectrum a little bit somewhere. So, yeah, if that doesn't get you to become a paying member, I don't know what will. I want to get the memberships up. I like the super chats. Super chats are great. If you guys like dropping super chats, that's fine. I get it. Instant gratification. You get your name up. I read your comment, stuff like that. But what I really dig is when people join the memberships and then actually interact. Like they join the membership, they go, oh, I didn't put up the link for the new members. So if you were gifted, I know that Rocky Cordova, Chef Rocky, donated like 5 gift memberships. If you got one of those, I'm going to put out, I will do that today. I absolutely apologize, completely forgot to do it. Chef Rocky donated like 5 gift memberships. If you got one of those, there's going to be a link to the Gilded server. If you click on that link and you get in, just send me a DM and let me know you're there, and then I will absolutely add you grant you access to either me or Will or to a Dave Will. I might let them know. But if you that's something that. Like if you want to join the membership so you can get in on either one of these like pricier giveaway items, it's just a benefit. Plus, we interact and there's a lot of stuff you can do on those memberships. So we are at the hour mark. And so that reminds me, I got to do my shilling of coffee beans. Coffee Brand Coffee does sponsor the channel. They have successfully launched a new flavor at least every week for the last 3 weeks. Usually they launch 2. They just launched a new flavor today or yesterday that was sticky cinnamon roll. They added s'mores. They added a cup. I thought it was more than that. There's 2 versions of it. There's 2 versions of the accelerator. But at any rate, you get a $100 knife. So... I mean, like literally, I'm giving away $100 knife several times a year to the paying members. Baseline and premium tier members. The just looking guys, they get the exclusive content, they get access to the Gilded server, and that's it. That's just a just looking thing, and I do appreciate all of those guys too. And I have got some QSP knives that will I will be giving away. One of them, I'm pretty sure that I'm giving away is 175, almost 200, I think. There's a chance that I might be giving away a $300 CJR or QSP, to the paying members. I'm on the fence about this one because I have so many knives that are already so similar to it that I do like and I carry. I'm thinking about giving this Legatus away to the paying members as well, which is an amazing knife. And these are $340, $350, something like that on Blade HQ. As a matter of fact, this specific one you can't even get. It's out of stock everywhere I found. Man, it is hot and sticky out here. It is 82 degrees out here. Oh, crane operator at San Diego Airport. Yeah, it's nasty and sticky today, isn't it? It's not so much that it's hot here in the San Diego, and I guarantee it's hotter at the airport than it is here where I'm at. I'm closer to the ocean. So if you're at the airport, what's the temperature like right now, Ross? Ross, if you are off this weekend, I have an event that's going on up. Yeah, it's muggy. I'm in the San Ysidro area. And I'm close to the 13th Street Naval Station area. It is really humid today. It's been so humid all day today. Like it's sticky and muggy in the studio. It currently is 80 degrees here at the house. Sorry, it's 81. 81, and it's like 79% humidity right now here where I'm at. So if you're just dropping in, please drop a like. But I have an event up in Beaumont Banning area this weekend. I'm going to be posting a... man, I like this so much. I wasn't going to show you guys this, but I had to. I just had to. It's so good. This Pirate XL is so good. compared to the other. Like I said, you can see the unboxing. I'll put a purchase link in it. I'll put up a post with a purchase link as well. But there'll be a purchase link in that video for this knife. When I put it up here after. It'll be at 4 p.m. today. So, but yeah, we're having that event up there. There's going to be 4 companies at the event. It's going to be at least 4. There might be more than 4. And if you're here, you haven't dropped a like, drop a like. It helps out the channel. Metal Complex. Everyone tried to tell me about this company. Now I understand why. Knife unboxing. I'm so gonna fucking start stealing his titles. I'll tell you right now, guys. I'm gonna tell you right now. I've had a few people that got upset. They're like, "Well, that's not the best knife you can get for $45." I'm like, "Well, guess what? You clicked on it, didn't you?" There is a reason that YouTubers do their thumbnails and do their titles the way they do. Because we want you to watch the video. You know what I'm saying? We want you to watch the video. You don't necessarily have to agree with it. I had a guy that got really bent out of shape about something I said in a thumbnail or title. And then, I called the cord a folding combat knife because it has a very... The CJRB cord has a... That's another knife I'm giving away. I'm giving away a riff. I'm giving away a cord. I'm giving away a micarta echo. I'm going to give all that stuff away here before too long. Those are all things, and a lot of those are going to be members giveaways. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to get in on some giveaway stuff, typically I don't even do the members giveaways on the channel. I do them on the Discord or on the chat server. It's 77 and muggy, ocean breeze though. Oh yeah, you are right at the ocean. I would, but we're going down to Encinitas fishing. Anyone needs to make tuna spites for deckhands and fishermen. FYI, something to consider. I made some of those for a buddy of mine a while back. And then I had another buddy of mine that asked me about it. He was cooking on one of the fishing boats. He was going as the cook. My buddy Chemo. And so, man, I haven't talked to him in forever. He lives just down the block from me, literally. Like, I could drive to his house in like fucking 4 minutes. And I never even talked to the dude. He was a E7 in the Air Force. We worked together when I worked at 32nd Street Naval Base. And then he got fed up and quit as well. He was GS. He was a GS as well and got fed up. So 9 people. I don't know if I want to keep doing a live feed. I'll keep going for a little bit. I'll tell you what, man. Hit me up. I should have an email address in the description below. If not, it's gunmonkey1974. If you tell me what you want and send me a picture of it, if it's something that I can, like, if you could provide the materials and I did the grinding, I'd split the cost with you if it's something you really need. I mean, I could probably do it pretty cheap. Yeah, that's, I mean, like I said, if you send me what you want, I can figure out like a way to do it. The problem we run into with a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of knife makers as well, materials are hard to come by right now. Do you guys know why? Do you guys know why you're seeing so many knives in S90V right now? I'll tell you why. Because Bowler has not made a lot, or S90V instead of M390. There's a lot of knives that used to be in M390 that are now in S90V, and I have no problem with that. But you're going to see a lot of knives in S90V that you would typically expect to see in 20CV or M390, and that's because Bowler, well, not 20CV, M390, Bowler had a fire, and they had a big fire, and they lost a lot of their capability for for making stuff, and they have not made a lot of M390. And first of all, M390 is slated for the plastics cutting industry. So those people get their materials first. So those are their main clients. Knife making, like Elliot Williamson reached out to a couple guys at Bowler, and he was like, hey, I'd like to get some M390. And they're like, that's too bad. We don't have any of it to sell. And he's like, no, I'm willing to buy like a lot. And they're like, well, how many tons? And he goes, what do you mean how many tons? And he goes, well, like right now, if I'm selling to a plastics industry, they're buying like 15 to 30 tons at a time. And so like these guys that are doing this, like when they're making tools for plastic cuttings, they're buying it multiple tons at a time. Elliot's buying maybe half a ton. And they're like, no, we can't do an order for that low. And now that they've had that fire and they're playing catch up, you're not getting a lot of M390. Knife industry does not represent a large enough client for them to provide that material. S90V is a lot more readily available, which I'm fine with that. I love S90V. S90V is my favorite steel. S90V is my favorite super steel. 14C28 is my favorite steel. I have to say, I think S90V is my favorite all-around steel. If I had to pick a steel that I would buy in a knife that was more budget, 14C28N, and then right after that, so those are my two. ARRPM9 is really good. I would love to see more 14C28N. 12C, that's another of those Sandvik steels. Those steels, Sandvik steels were made for knives. That's why they're so good in knives. There's very few steels that have actually been designed specifically for knives. RWL34, love that steel. It's pricey. And it's, as much as I love it, it's not my favorite. It's up there. I would have to say, if I was looking at like high-end steels, it'd be S90V, for RWL34, 20CV, stuff like that. But as you go down, there's very few steels that were actually designed for knife making. 14C28N was designed for Sandvik for use in knives. That's why it's so good at that purpose. M390 is a steel that was designed for the plastics cutting industry, and that's what you get a lot of times. LMAX, M390, and a couple of other steels that you get. Those are all for the plastics cutting industry, and they just work really well in knives because they have a high wear resistance. But a lot of times you give up some stuff with those. As much as I like some of those steels, I'm going to tell you right now, I would take 14C28N over M390 in a lot of knives, just because of the edge that 14C takes. 14C28N takes a nasty edge. I like LMAX. I do. I like LMAX. Elliot did some LMAX small batch. Elliot Williamson at Farron Forge Knife Works did some LMAX small batch with a specific heat treat that he used on that he came up with on his own. And it's amazing. It is different than any LMAX I've ever had. It is very, very reminiscent of S90V with that heat treat. I think the best S90V that I've had was some S90V that Elliot did custom heat treat on. After that, it's this. Spyderco has really, really nailed the heat treat on S90V at this point. They really have. And if you're just dropping in, please drop a like. I'd appreciate it. I know some of you guys are dropping in and out because you're at work. But if you haven't dropped a like, I'd appreciate it. We'll go for another hour-ish if you guys want to keep doing this. But yeah, this at 1,000 grit is just like you can. I want to do like a macro of like the best way to see how bitey your knife is literally to put your finger on it and move your finger a little and see if you can see. I don't recommend doing this if you don't have calloused fingers, but you'll be able to see that knife start to cut into your skin. That is the best way to see how bitey your edge is. Like, is it biting your finger? If yes, I do not recommend the thing that Murray Carter says, where you put the three fingers on and you squeeze and you like your brain will tell you to stop. That's not true. That will get you cut, especially if you got callous hands. Please do not buy Crucible Metals, not Bowler, Niagara Specialty Metals here in New York needs the business Guys, thanks. Problem. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you a nasty little secret. I have had problems. I try not to. Yeah, you can do that to bite on a thumbnail, but like I personally think that if it's biting into your flesh slightly, it's a good way to do it. I've never really wanted to call this out too much. I've mentioned it before, but I threw away. I bought a bunch of material from Niagara. I bought 20 CV, and I'm not the only person that has had this problem. There are problems with Niagara's steel. They sold me substandard steel. It had issues. Companies have ordered it in bulk and had to throw away a ton of material and blanks because there were these. I made a knife, had all these little black lines in it. It looked like somebody had drawn on it with a Sharpie. Don't know what it was. I had one of the blanks. I had Niagara do blowout and water jet materials out for me so that they could just send me the blade blanks. And they did. They did a good job. When I started grinding them, I had several that had a line on them that looked like, when you would do it, it looked like San Mai steel. So that's a powder steel. I don't know whether it was jacket material that they had compressed when they made the plates and didn't get it all ground off, but I had issues with it. And that entire batch of material, that was the second batch of material I got from them. And I didn't make too many knives after that, but I said I was never buying, I said I was never gonna buy it again. They were nice to work with. They gave me a really good deal on the blowout, but I had to throw away. So you figure I got all the material. I would make a knife. Like if I'm selling a knife between $300 and $600, depending on the level of finish and what all was done on it, I threw away probably 10 or 11 blanks. How much is that worth to me in the long run? Because I just couldn't use them. Like you couldn't get rid of it in the finish. It just was like, there was just a whole bunch of them that were like that. I think, yeah, 10 or 11. So would I lose if I was doing them between $300 and $600 or $300 and $600? I threw away 10 of them. I was looking between $3,000 and $6,000 that I basically threw in the trash. And it was stuff that it didn't matter what you did for finish. Like I tried to tumble them. I tried to blast them. I tried to blast and tumble them. You could see these lines and this black thing. Now, there were a couple that I told the guy, I was like, look, it's not going to affect. I'll give you a discount because I could see that there was this line, but I could see I was into clean steel after the grind. And he was like, can you just do a blast and tumble? And it cleared it up. But like these black, it was actually an issue. And not to mention my time. Like by the time I got into the grind and I realized it, I was basically almost a finished knife. And I'm like, fuck. Don't get me wrong. The guys at Niagara were amazing to deal with. They were great. They gave me a bulk discount on the water jet. And the knives that I did do in them, they heat treated up great. They were beautiful. But I had about 10 blanks out of a half a sheet. And we're talking, I paid $2,400 for the half a sheet with the blowout. And then actually it was more than that. I paid about $3,000 for blowout and then lost another $3,000 in finished knives. $3,000 to $6,000. How much did I lose on that deal? Like that's $9,000 I had tied up just in materials when you count the losses. If you're judging it on the high end, it was $6,000 if you judge it on a low end. Cut it in the middle. Fucking $7,500 that I lost total between materials and then losses of those. I know that. Why'd you say it twice? Why'd you say it twice, Flip Flop? But they are a good company to deal with, and they have a lot of stuff. They may have fixed their issues, but I'm just not doing any more knives, and I don't think I would do them in 20 CV anyway. I honestly think that any knives I make in the future are going to be out of materials that are easier to deal with, easier to heat treat. I absolutely understand why Bob Truzola uses 154 cm. I would burn at because like I was telling Bob, I was like, I was doing 20 CV at 64, 65 Rockwell. And so heat treat took forever because I was taking it to 2200 degrees, quenching, and then getting a temper oven up to 1,000 degrees and tempering at 1,000 for 2 hours, pull it out for I would do a normalization cycle, 1,000 degrees for 2 hours, let it sit, get to room temperature, put it back in the oven at 1,000 degrees for 2 hours for the actual temper. So you do 2 cycles of 1,000. You're looking at, it might take you 9 hours to do 5 knives for heat treat. And then you're grinding a 64 Rockwell blade. I would burn through so much in the way of abrasives to the point where I would, in each knife, I had about $100 worth of abrasives tied up in each knife. Oh yeah, Plaza's table, cool. Yeah, Ross, you can get a hold of me at that email address. It's gunmonkey1974@gmail.com. Don't be offended if it takes me a while to get around to it. Just say, hey, it's Ross from Ross Gin, crane operator in San Diego. But yeah, it's everybody's like, oh, custom knife makers must just be killing it because their knives are like $600, $800, and I'm like, no. You look at handle material. You buy in handle material, you're looking at per knife probably $40 to $60 when you, well, let's figure if you're doing G10, you can get a sheet of G10 pretty easy. But I've had companies screw me on G10 as well. Sent me the wrong thickness, sent me stuff that was bowed, stuff like that. And then abrasives and just the time it takes. And then the screws. The screws to put handles on a fixed blade knife, I don't know if you guys know this, are stupid expensive. Stupid expensive. So, like Chris and Elliot were selling their knives at $550 each. Their in-house knives, $550 each. And that was mid-tech style. They were getting parts made here. They would get their steel. He'd get his steel. Elliot would get a sheet of steel sent directly to. He'd get it sent directly over to. I can't remember the water jet place. There's a water jet place just here in National City, just down the road from here. So Elliot would get the sheet of metal sent there. And then he'd get parts blown out, and then he would get the parts and whatever was left of the sheet of steel. Because sometimes he would get enough steel that he could do multiple runs in that, right? So blow out like 200 blades out of that piece of steel. He'd get the titanium sent directly over to SDPM, and they would do the scales. They would cut out the scales and everything and get them milled, and then Elliot would go collect all those parts, and then he'd take all the blades, send them off to Larkin for heat treat and bevels on the grind. So you figure he's paid for the steel, he's paid for the water jet, he's paid for the machining, he's paid for heat treat and grinding, and then he gets those knives in and he has to take all the time to build them up. And everybody thinks you get something done on a water jet that you just slap the parts together and that's done. It's not true. Everything still has to be resized. The handles, it's like all the parts, all the holes, when they would come back from, when all the handles would come back, he'd get those water jetted out as well. So they go water jet first and then over for machining. So he's paying for water jet on all those parts. Then he has all the hardware, which I'm not gonna lie to you, titanium hardware is ridiculously expensive. I saw a bin of screws that Elliot had, and I can just to give you a visual representation. There was a bin of screws that Elliot had gotten for use, and it was one of these. All right, and he got them, and he was unhappy with them. They were not what he wanted. I forget what it was. He just wasn't happy with the screws, and he was like, I had to eat the cost because they did the screws right. There was a tub of screws that was full to about here, right? One of these that was full just a little bit above half. And I was like, well, I mean, I was like, really, what's the big deal? That's not that many screws. That's just a bin of screws. And he goes, that's a $10,000 batch of screws. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Just pivot screws. Just pivot screws, not body screws, just pivot screws. And the problem was that like they hadn't been machined exactly the way he wanted, and it was he was like, it's my fault. But the heads kept breaking off because they were, at the end of the threads, they were cut in, and he just wanted them to be threaded all the way to the head so that he kept breaking the heads off the screws. And he goes, it was my fault. Like, I have to eat the cost on that. So he just basically, he was like, you can use as many of those screws as you want for anything. But I had to buy the barrels that they go in, like the actual pivot. I had to buy those. And I have news for you. Those, I didn't have to buy the screws because Elliot had the screws. I just bought the pivots, the pieces that go in the middle. I bought enough of them to do 60 knives. $212. That was 3 per knife. Right? They're not cheap. None of those parts are cheap. And so by the time you buy enough hardware, buy enough screws and hardware, standoffs, that's the other one, the standoffs, those are all titanium, they're all milled. All that. By the time they'd get that, they had so much tied up and then in time and then overhead for the shop, they made no money. Like, honestly, Elliot and Chris could not pay themselves. They couldn't. They made some money, and granted, there was stuff that they got paid like in-person cash purchases that was basically what they were living on, and they were living like hand to mouth because by the time they paid the rent for the shop and paid for the parts, once those knives pre-ordered and sold, even at anywhere between $550 and $700 for the standard ones, and then $1,000 for the maker's choice, by the time they got done with that, they had enough money to buy the stuff for the next run. After they paid the overhead for the shop and, all the machining and all those things, by the time they got done with that, they had maybe enough money to do the next run. It was that tight. It was that tight of a margin. And everybody's like, why does Fair & Forge only do production style now? Well, because they run it out of a little tiny room that you guys saw in that video. They're running everything out of there. Their overhead is almost nothing. They're doing well now because they're doing small OEM runs. And everybody's like, why don't you do some OEM runs of your knives and then sell them? One, they didn't sell production style to begin with. Like, you can still buy the Stonefish in a lot of places on discount. We Knife Company was cool enough to pay me up front for the entire run. We Knife Company paid me at a loss. They still have not sold those knives. The Stonefish, still sitting at Blade HQ, still in stock. That's not a still in production knife. That is simply a knife that's still sitting and has not sold. They paid me out up front for the entire run. So they paid, my paycheck cost them money, which is why everybody's like, when's we going to do another run of your knives? It's like, oh, they won't. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. They agreed to pay me up front because I told them, I was like, hey, I don't know how often we're going to do this. Is this going to be like an every 90-day thing? I was just curious. And they were like, oh, it's not a problem. We'll just pay you up front. Because I got one paycheck and I was like, are we going to do this like on a every 90 days thing? Is that how we're going to do this? And they were like, if it's easier for you, we'll just pay you for the entire run. And I was like, yeah, that works. Never once thinking that those knives would not sell. And neither was we, because the initial launch, like the first week or the first 90 days, they were selling well. And then I guess everyone that got one of these, that wanted one of these, was like, yeah, I don't need two. Plus, I'm not going to lie, I talked with We Knife Company about it. I told them that this needed to be cheaper, $350. Everybody loves a good fixed blade, right? Everybody loves a good production fixed blade. You know what people don't like? Is a $350 production fixed blade. It's not financially sound. And I told him, I was like, we could go, like, you didn't have to do titanium on the screws, and we didn't have to do G10, and we could have went a different way. I was like, I wanted to do 20 CV, but if it was going to be easier to do a different steel, that would have been great too. And they were like, no, we're going to do it just like that. And then the price point came out. The price point came out at like $350, And it was just because 20 CV at the time was so hard to get in China. It's not like that anymore. You can get 20 CV shipped through different vendors now. But this was in 20 CV. And I love this knife. I would absolutely love to see another version of this knife. We may see another version of this knife if I can get it, but it's going to be a very small batch kind of thing. If it gets done, it's going to be a very small batch thing, and it'll look way different than that, but it'll be basically that handle with a different style blade on it. So, you know, you never know what's going to hit in the market. The Sea Snake, I still get, like, they must be selling thousands of them. Hang on a second. Let's see here. I can give you an idea, an estimate of about how many sold last quarter. Trying to pull this up here. Less than I thought. They sold about 400. So, as much as fair, yeah. Sea Snake and evergreen design. The Sea Snake is always going to be good. It might not sell. I might not be making a mint off of it, but I still make money on it a little bit. Like, I maybe make $800 a year on that knife. Really. Maybe. Like, we're not talking like that is good coffee. It's a little more, that coffee is a little bit more pungent, like a little bit more sour than the other ones I've been drinking. I like it. It's good, but like the aftertaste is really kind of sour. It tastes good up front. You know how sometimes you drink a coffee, like coffee that's old, like it's been in the pot too long and it tastes sour right up front? This tastes good on the front, but then the aftertaste is a little sour. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I might have made it too strong. I don't know. Who knows? I might be adding too many grounds. It looks like a chocolate brownie. So, if you guys are here and you haven't dropped a like, I'd appreciate it. If you want to join the memberships, that would be great. I'm probably going to end this here in just a few minutes. I just got a text from my wife. I may have to go pick up my daughter. I may have to go pick up my daughter from school. No. You're still here listening? Well, good, Will. Good. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. If I get a text that says I gotta go pick up the kid, we'll just end it. It is hot and sticky here. It's cooler downtown San Diego right now than it is here. It is currently 81 degrees, which makes sense because that's the high, and that's the high that they projected today, and it's noon. So it's been warm the last few days. It's not hot though. It is sticky. Let me see here. I might have to take the dog out. Hey, Chunk. You want to go potty? You want to go potty? Come on. Do you want to go potty or what? Come on. We'll go see. We'll open the door and see what he says. Come on. You can go out? I guess he doesn't want to go out. Hey, Mike, is that... what was that? Is that a Hario? What a Hario? What are you talking about? To what are you referring? I don't know what that is. Hario is a housing area in Sasebo, Japan. What are you referring to? Talking to the dog? Are you speaking of the mutt? Of the animal living under my kitchen table now? I don't understand to what you are referring. No, that is a Clarenstein. It is a Clarenstein. One of you guys, one of the subscribers contacted me asking for my address to send a Christmas gift, and that is what showed up. And I dig it, and I was recommending it to people, and I had an Amazon link for it, but I don't think they make it anymore. And so the nice thing about that one was that's a nice one. That's about like, but it's only like about $100. And I dig it a lot. And I will tell you, it will take crappy coffee and make it pretty good, and it will take good coffee and make it even better. So I don't know if they still make that. I will tell you though, I have had, so in the last 8 to 10 years, let's say 8 years. In the last 8 years, I have had four Mr. Coffee coffee pots, the drip style, and 2 Keurigs, right? And so when we got ready to buy a coffee pot the last time, I went on Amazon and I found this coffee pot right here. For $15. The longest I've had a Mr. Coffee work without needing to do something to fix it, like the thermocouple on the bottom, something like that, has been about a year and a half. Now, I say that in the last 8 years, we bought 4 Mr. Coffees. Actually, I haven't had a Mr. Coffee last more than about a little bit over a year. So in the last 8 years, we've had 4 Mr. Coffees, 2 Keurigs. I have had this coffee pot for 4 years. Every one of the Mr. Coffees, you hit a year, and they're like, oh, I'm so old, I can't do it anymore. This coffee pot's like, fuck you, I'm immortal. This is the best coffee pot I have ever owned for a drip pot. So you don't think you would ever buy from Niagara Metals again as opposed to your previous problem. It literally means you would never buy Crucible steel. No, it means that I had problems with 20 CV, and the fact is I do not need enough steel for the things that I do now. But would I do it again now? Would I buy in bulk from them? I don't know. I would have to think real hard about, because if I was doing it, I'd still be doing it in 20 CV. And I don't think I would buy, I don't know. I just had a problem. And the thing is, though, that other makers ordered a large volume of that steel to be delivered to OEM shops. Okay, you ready for this? I'm not going to call anyone out in particular. And it's definitely not who you think it is, because don't forget, I know a lot of people. There was a few folks that got a large volume of 20 CV sent to their OEMs, through the pathway, which you can do now. And so they were like, I will purchase the steel and get it sent to you because I want it in this steel. And the Chinese companies don't even, like, it's really hard for us to do. And so the American guys would buy it and then get it shipped to them because it's a lot, I guess it's just easier because I guess some of these companies just don't want to deal with the Chinese companies. But at any rate, they got it shipped, and there was a lot of companies that were like, we lost like half of the batch because it was unusable. So it wasn't just me. So it's not just me that's talking about. That's why you're seeing knives in S90V and stuff like that. Companies, I guess it's gotten better, but apparently there was a while where this is a rumor that I heard, was that the folks at Crucible knew that there were issues with the steel and they were selling it anyway. So I can neither confirm nor deny, but that is the rumor mill that I heard through a lot of other designers and makers who were doing a lot of OEM stuff and using 20 CV. Just take that at face value. I'm not putting out there. I know I had issues with my batch, and right about that same time, there were a lot of people that were complaining about it. when they got it shipped to OEMs, even OEMs here in the States. So when you purchase that volume of steel and then you lose half of it, like half your blanks are duds, that stings. So like I said, that's, once again, neither here nor there, just what I heard. You know what they say about rumors? Spread them. No, I'm just kidding. Don't spread them. But that's absolutely not just one person. You can't order CPM steel directly from Crucible. It has to go through the hands of Niagara Specialty Metals. All the specialty metals. That's all I mean. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to buy it again because it's expensive. If I'm going to get something, I'm just going to buy something off USA Knife Maker. Probably 154 CM, 20C, or not 20 CV, 14C 28N, something like that. That is insanely sharp. David's here. I like this knife a lot. That's the size it should have been. So drop a like if you're just getting here, David. I ground that coffee too thin, or too fine. There's a lot of mud in the bottom of that. That's unfortunate. There's so much mud in the bottom, it's just gritty. It's gritty. It's gritty and unpleasant. There was so much mud in the bottom of that as I started drinking. You know when you make hot cocoa, regardless of how much you stir it, because cocoa doesn't actually dissolve, it just kind of, it's a suspension, not actually a dissolved. It's a suspended solid, not a dissolved solid. Some the chocolate flavor and the sweet, it settles and you get all the muddy stuff at the very bottom of your cup of hot cocoa. It was way worse than that. Gee, I got a mouthful and it was like, that is just all coffee powder. It's the only problem with that coffee grinder. Hang on a second. My allergy nose spray. It's bad. Bad here. Dude, the coffee, yeah. And here's the thing, David. If you think the strawberry is good, if you think that strawberry is good, wait till you try this. If you like this, you might like this as well. Orange creamsicle, this is it doesn't have a huge flavor to it, but you can definitely tell it's there. So if you guys are looking for really good coffee, I'm not joking. This is the best coffee I've had, hands down, in a very long time. And they support the channel. I was talking about this coffee before they sponsored the channel. So it's, what was this? The aftertaste. Yeah, it's not like it's such a strong flavor up front. I mean, it can be like this, definitely. When you take a drink of this, you're like, oh, that tastes like blackberries. But it also, I just fucking shook it now. I can smell it now in a cup of it. But it absolutely, did they use my link? Okay, David, I know that you're in the devil's lettuce, but please tell me that you gave them my link or my coupon code. Please tell me that you did that, because introducing your neighbor to it, but not introducing them doesn't support me. God damn it. Cool. All right. And I did get credit for your purchase. I told him, I was like, hey, what happened? So if you guys are trying to order coffee with my link, with my coupon code, and you try to use Crazy Sharp and you get a subscription, it does not work. It'll tell you that the code is invalid. You have to use my link. So there's a link in all my videos. Here's another nightmare sharp knife. Because this Migron Bologna, just nightmare. It's got a little nick in it. I was messing around with it and I got into something and I nicked it. And I finally broke down and sharpened my beg letter. Guys, I have to tell you about a comment that I got. I got a comment from a guy that told me I was mispronouncing this. It's like, you keep spelling it, you keep saying it Begleiter. And he did it Begleiter, just like it's spelled. He's like, it's pronounced, and then it was Begleiter, but with like hyphens in it. And I was like, that's still Begleiter. I was like, I don't know if you know this, but tomato does not work in text because it looks the same. It just says tomato to me. So putting up, saying I'm mispronouncing it, and then putting it up saying it's Begleiter, it's not Begleiter, it's Begleiter. I'm like, that's not going to work. Like, you would have to in person tell me that there's a different way to pronounce it. You know what I mean? It's like wiping before you poop. It makes this, but there are things that just don't come across in text. It's going. I'm gonna have to wash this before I make it. This hat smells sweaty. I'm gonna wash my hat today, so I probably won't be filming anything because, you know, I can't film without my hat. I don't want to film with a wet hat. So everybody's like, oh, you can't wash a hat, it ruins it. Man, I've washed this hat probably 15, 20 times. It gets washed, you hang it up by the bill, it doesn't lose its shape. If you really want to know a good way to do it, you can wash it, put it on a coffee can. Yes, fixed blades do not fail. And I didn't have to do a fucking thing to that knife to make it usable. I just pulled it out of this leather thing on my hip. This is such an easy knife to... I had one of the paying members, Winston Cabretti, stopped by the house on Saturday. And we hung out here. That hat is uncomfortable to spend very much time in. I guess it's not. It's because I haven't worn it for a long time, so it just needs to be reshaped. It's sat for a while. I used to wear that hat constantly. I just need to wet it. I need to wet the So we currently have, we have Poor Decision Mike, and we have me. There's been a new addition to the family. So there's a couple hats that live up here. So this is the hat that gets worn by a gentleman named, his name is Questionable Use of Tools Mike. And then PDM's hat is here. And then PDM keeps his shirt out here all the time. But, so this is a palm straw hat. And I used to wear this all the time. I've had this for literally for more than a decade. And I think it just needs to be wet and then reshaped to my head. It's a really good hat, but I think it's just sat so long that I'm just going to have to wet it and reshape it. Because it doesn't feel right on my head anymore. So it's not that it's too small, because my head didn't get any bigger. It just doesn't fit. It just doesn't feel right on my head. It just feels like it's tight in areas. So I imagine if I re-wet it really good, and I'll take the leather hat band off of it, and I'll wet it really good, and I'll just wear it till it dries. That'll probably fix it. But for as often as I'm going to wear that hat, the only time I wear that hat out, like, I'll wear it if I'm going to be outside for a while. Like, if we're going to the county fair or something, that's the hat I'll wear. If I'm going to a race, I'll wear that hat because it keeps your ears and everything, back of your neck. Or if I'm filming in the yard, so when I'm using the camera and I'm filming out in the yard and I'm going to be out there for a while, like, I filmed a video out there yesterday because it was just too hot in the studio to film. It reached a point where it was just too hot out there to film. So, yeah, but then the nice thing about a palm straw is you just wet it and then you can put it right back on. And just once it's shaped to your head, it's fine. But like, I filmed out there, so on the parts where I was behind the tripod, I was wearing that hat. And I could feel it. It just felt like it just needed to be reshaped. So palm straws are the best. The nice thing about a palm straw is if you get your hat knocked off, it doesn't matter what you do. As long as you do not cut it, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. If you're going to spell it that way, I'm going to pronounce this. It is not Bickleiter. It's Begleiter. I mean, I say that, but I don't pronounce school, shul, which you should. I don't care. I'll say it how I say it. I said what I said. But I did. I'll wear it like if I'm behind the tripod out in the yard, off camera, and then I'll put this one back on. But I haven't been anywhere where I would need to wear it for an extended period of time for a while. Like I haven't been to a race. I have not been to a race since my buddy Clint left. Because my daughter's not interested in going to races. I mean, can you tell I have a puppy? Can you tell I have a puppy with sharp puppy teeth? It's fucking dog. I'm not a goddamn chew toy. Plus, I got into the rose bush a little bit the other day. Nurkaha. There you go. That's where this was made. And Nurkaha. Most people would say Newark, Ohio, but that's not it. That ain't it. It's Nurkaha. It's very, very close to Heath. So you have Heath and then Nurk, depending on which way you're driving. So the last time I was home to see my dad before he passed away, we drove every day to Newark, Ohio, to the ice rink. Every day. It was like a 45-minute drive to the ice rink and then 45 minutes back. It was a lot of fun. I have a guy that I'm going to have make a sheath for me when I have fucking money. I keep saying I'm going to do it, and then something comes up. Said I was going to do it, had to drop $8,000 on the wife's car. Recouped a lot of that money. I'm like, now I'm going to get that sheath made. Had to replace the windshield in the wife's car. I'm like, fuck me running. Every time I turn around, something needs to be fixed. So it's been hectic, and I haven't gotten any word back about that job yet, so I'm hoping. My buddy asked me if I wanted to go this week and work security this week and next week, but this week and next week, everything's so tied up. I can't. It's Nathan from over at Tempered Trail. He was asking if I want to do security for Comic-Con. I was like, I really can't right now. There's no way, not with everything that's going on. I got to pick the kid up. I got to take the kid and do this stuff. So, Big Doug, sometimes it stays broke. Oh, no, the wife's windshield. Yeah, sometimes it stays broke. The wife's windshield had to get replaced. It went from it was a little crack. And I'm like, that's just a little crack. I've seen it worse. It went from a little crack to it started to look like a tree in the winter. I was like, we got to replace that. Windshields for a Toyota Prius are expensive. I tried to get it done at a cheap place down the road. It wasn't quite spider webbed. It was just it went up and then went all different directions off of that. It branched off. It looked like a tree in the winter. Like a happy little tree up in the winter, and his leaves all fell off. And Bob Ross. The dog loves to watch Bob Ross. There are a couple of things that dog loves to watch. Cops. He'll sit and just watch Cops. Bob Ross. He will watch TV. That dog absolutely watches. My old dog, Cayenne, would not watch TV. He will come out to the garage if I'm watching TV in the evenings, and he'll come out and he'll push through the magnetic screen door, and he'll see what's on, and he'll sit at my feet and just look at the TV and just watch it. Depending on what's on, he might stick around for the whole thing. Cops, Bob Ross, CSI, loves those. But he will come out. He came out the other day, and I was watching Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and he was sitting there watching it, and he was fine. Until the bad guy came out, and it was the scene where he pulls the dude's heart out, and the bad guy come out with the cow skull and the human skulls and the human jawbones, and he saw that and immediately turned and tried to get up my lap. He crawled up in my lap and sat there. He still watched it, but he didn't want to watch it sitting on the floor. He wanted to watch it sitting in my lap, and I was like, that is hilarious. He was terrified. You just see him, he jumped back and was like, and jumped up, paws up in my lap, was like, pick me up. He wanted up in my lap. So I pulled him up, and I was holding him, and he was sitting there watching it, and he was just shaking. But he was still watching it. He was fine with it. He just sat in my lap. Anytime that guy came on, he wanted up in my lap. But he watched the whole movie with me. Literally just watched the whole movie. Never had a dog that would just sit and watch TV. At least he watched TV with me until my wife came home, because the second my wife comes home, I don't exist anymore. I am persona non grata once mama comes home. That is, he is her dog. There is absolutely zero doubt about this. And I'm like, this is some bullshit. I'm the first person that ever held him. Like, he cried to come down. He slept on my chest the whole afternoon. I'm the one that told my wife that's the dog we should pick. I was the first person that ever held him and put him to sleep on her chest like that. That dog doesn't want to have a fucking thing to do with me. And you're right. She wanted a female dog. And I tried to tell her, I was like, male dogs are always going to be better. They're a lot more fun. And she's now got this dog and absolutely loves her. That dog, I can lay down on the couch. That dog won't come to me. Second she lays down on the couch, that dog is like up on her, trying to crawl in between. Show him Ace Ventura when nature. Oh, I should watch that. I should watch that. Guys, I'm going to end this. I got to get this all cleaned up before the wife gets home. Plus, I'm sweating. I want to take a shower and do a couple things. I will get today's video up. You might see 2 videos up today. How about Cutlery Corner Bash Fest live tonight? I'm not doing a live tonight. I'm not doing a live tonight. I'm going to tell you guys. You guys have got to get the word out to start coming here or watching the lives after. I'm not doing afternoon lives anymore. I sit out there in that studio. I give up time with my family. I get no more people on an evening live feed than I'm getting right now. I don't get any super chats. I'm not getting new memberships. And I'm not trying to make that sound like I'm trying to entice you into it. But the fact is, I use studio software to do those. I'm running lights. I'm losing time with my family. And it's just not financially, it doesn't make a financial difference for me to do it. I'm giving up more when I do that. I'm giving up all of my evening time on Mondays and Wednesdays, and I'm doing it on Saturdays as well. If I'm not getting, Jared and I talked about this, he might be paring down his live feeds too. And it's not saying that we don't want to do lives for you guys. It's the fact that none of this is free. None of the things that we do for a channel is free. I'm running electricity. I'm using software. I have to use apps for thumbnails. I pay for the software that I use to do the service that I use to do thumbnails. I pay for the editing software. I pay for the electricity to run my lights, charge my lights, all that stuff. And if there's not a return on investment, you're not going to keep doing it. Like, I wouldn't buy a boat and put it out in my yard and make payments on it if I'm not going to put it in the water. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to buy a hunting shelter that I have to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for if I'm never going to go put it in a tree. If we put a lot of work into stuff and there's just no return on that investment, because my live feeds are demonetized, you've heard me say it so many times. I'm trying to point out something for you guys. I'm not e-begging. I'm just saying channels cost money to run. All these knives that came in have to go back to where they came from. When people send me knives on loan, I got to pay shipping to send them back out, which means that Jared paid the money to send shipping to me, and I got to pay money to send the shipping back. When I do giveaways, I eat the cost of that shipping. I'm not saying like, hey, I'll do the giveaway, you got to pay me the shipping. We're not doing that. We're eating that cost. And if we're not seeing a return on investment, I ran this whole live feed. I didn't get a single super chat. You didn't hear me complain about it. I mentioned that they're available. I didn't get a single super chat through this. I don't want to start doing that again. But the fact is, why would I give up an evening with my family if people don't want to support it? You see what I'm saying? I don't make anything on ad revenue on this. Every one of my live feeds for the last 3 months has been demonetized. I don't make a penny doing a live feed unless I get a super chat or a new membership. I do it because I enjoy spending some time with you guys, but I'm not going to give up time with my family for free. So something to keep in mind. Like if I was still getting donations and things, I would think about doing it, but it dried up. I understand financially, people just can't do it anymore. But for me to spend all that time to set up a live feed, to do it on my laptop, to use the editing, to use the software. The only reason I'm keeping the software is because I can't go live on Rumble directly from my phone. So Saturdays, I'm still using that software. But I'm definitely going to get the free version of it. I'm going to cancel my subscription, and you're going to see like the StreamYard logo. I'm not going to do all the capabilities, and that means the stream is not going to be as good because I can't do the full 1080p. So it's going to be a lot more pixelated and grainy because I'm going to go back to the free version. Since I already have the subscription for the rest of the year, I missed the cutoff. I'm like, crap, I already paid for it for the year. I'm going to use it for the rest of the year, but I'm not paying for it for another year. It just doesn't, the ad revenue isn't coming. I've lost 3/4 of my income on YouTube since April. It hurts. It sucks. The only new memberships I've gotten are the ones that Chef Rocky has donated. Just, if you guys want channels to succeed, you have to think about the fact that they can't do it for free. That's all I'm saying. If you want to drop super chats, that's fine. If you want to join memberships, that's fine. But if you don't at least even want to give a thumbs up on a video, and you're like, what happened to the channel? Like, what was the one? How come you're not? What's that? The reel that I keep seeing on Instagram? How come you're not famous? Because you didn't share my shit. Why didn't you share my shit? You didn't share my shit. That's all I'm saying. Channels rely on views from subscribers. I only had one person show up for the first 6 minutes, and I get it because JB was live. I'm not going to do a live feed. I'm not going to stand here in this hot ass kitchen for 45 minutes for, like, if no one shows up. It's just not going to happen. So keep that in mind when you watch people's live feeds. Keep that in mind that small channels like mine and even Jared's and like Choir Boy Cutlery and guys like that, those channels run off of whatever is provided from the people that are kind enough to do it. And it includes like just dropping stuff in. Like, I get stuff from companies all the time, but like I said, that's what it takes to run a channel. Like, especially like this is, for a while, this was viable. This was my income. I was doing it and it was working out fine. And now here we are a year later and it's not. I absolutely am losing money every month badly. And that's why I'm trying so hard to find that job right now, to get that job over there. So like I said, if you can't at least even like a video, if you can't like a video for a channel that you like, you shouldn't watch it. Because that's one of the things that absolutely helps. So, guys, that's it. I'm out. I'm off my soapbox. I love you all. I will see you. Like I said, there may be a live feed Friday. I may try to do a live feed from on my way up, but that might be an Instagram live feed. That might be an Instagram live feed. I may try to do one for my way up, on my way up to Nico's house Friday morning. If not, I'll probably do one from Nico's on Friday. I may do something on Saturday, but there is not going to be a Saturday set live feed, okay? Because I'm going to be up at that event up in Palm Springs area that Nico and I organized. Small little knife show. There's like 4 companies coming. So make sure you drop a like on this video. If you're just now coming in, you can go back and watch the whole thing. I would say skip to the 6-minute mark when people start coming in, because the first few minutes is just me looking at this like it's a shaving mirror. And then, yeah, there may or may not be a live feed Monday. I hate not doing live feeds because I still get views. I don't get income. I don't get revenue from it, but at least I still get views. But it depends. Like I said, I got to get prepared. My wife has surgery on Thursday. So there may or may not be a Monday or Wednesday live feed. There might be one or the other. I don't know yet. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. All right, guys, I'm out. I love y'all. Take it easy. Don't think that whole like end piece was like me begging for you guys to do that stuff. I'm just saying, like, at least like videos. At the very least, like a video when you watch it. Because I guarantee there's only 15 people here and there's 29 likes, but I'm going to look at that and see that there's probably been a total of 100 and some odd views, which means that more than half of you guys did not drop a like. So I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.